Act 1 of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Rudens, The Fisherman's Rope, Dramatis Personae.
Arcturus, who speaks the prologue, read by Greg Giordano.
Daemones, an aged Athenian, now living at Cyrene, read by Todd.
Plesidippus, a young Athenian in love with Palaestra, read by
PriamedesSceparnio, servant to Daemones, read by Alan Mapstone.
Gripus, servant of Daemones, read by Larry Wilson.
Turbalio, servant of Daemones, read by
InkellTrachalio, the servant of Plesidippus, read by
BeeswaxcandleLabrax, a procurer, read by
SoniaCharmides, a Sicilian, his guest, read by Ahsan Ahmed.
Fisherman of Cyrene, read by Michael Fays.
Ptolemy, Priestess of Venus, read by Agnes Robert
BehrPalaestra, young woman in the possession of Labrax, read by Jenn
BrodaAmpelisca, young woman in the possession of Labrax, read by Laura Gibbs.
Stage directions, read by Adrian Stephens. Scene, near Cyrene, in Africa, not far from the seashore, and before the cottages of Daemones and the Temple of Venus, which has, probably, a small court before it, surrounded by a low wall. The Prologue, spoken by the god Arcturus.
With him who sways all nations, seas and lands, I am a fellow citizen in the realms of the gods. I am, as you see, a bright and shining star, a constellation that ever in its season rises here on earth and in the heavens. Arcturus is my name. By night I am glittering in the heavens and amid the gods, passing among mortals in the day. Other constellations, too, descend from the heavens upon the earth. Jove, who is the ruler of gods and men, he disperses us here in various directions among the nations to observe the actions, manners, piety, and faith of men, just as the means of each avail him. Those who commence villainous suits at law upon false testimony, and those who, in court, upon false oath deny a debt, their names written down, do we return to Jove. Each day does he learn who here is calling for vengeance. Whatever wicked men seek here to gain their cause through perjury, who succeed before the judge in their unjust demands. The same case adjudged does he judge over again, and he finds them in a penalty much greater than the results of the judgment they have gained. The good men written down on other tablets does he keep, and still these wicked persons entertain a notion of theirs, that they are able to appease Jupiter with gifts, with sacrifice. Both their labor and their cost they lose. This for this reason is so, because no petition of the perjured is acceptable to him. If any person that is supplicating the deities is pious, he will more easily procure pardon for himself than he that is wicked. Therefore I do advise you this, you who are good, and who passed your lives in piety and in virtue, still persevere, that one day you may rejoice that so you did. Now, the reason for which I have come hither I will disclose to you. First, then, Diphilus has willed the name of this city to be Cyrene. There,
pointing to the cottage,
dwells Daemones, in the country, and in a cottage very close adjoining to the sea, an old gentleman who has come hither in exile from Athens, no unworthy man, and still not for his bad deserts has he left his country. But while he was aiding others, meanwhile himself he embarrassed. A property honorably acquired he lost by his kindly ways. Long since, his daughter, then a little child, was lost. A most villainous fellow brought her of the thief, and this Procurer brought the maiden hither to Cyrene. A certain Athenian youth, a citizen of this city, beheld her as she was going home from the music school. He begins to love her. To the Procurer he comes. He purchases the damsel for himself at the price of 30 minae, and gives him earnest, and binds the Procurer with an oath. This Procurer, just as befitted him, did not value at one straw his word, or what, on oath, he had said to the young man. He had a guest, a fit match for himself, an old man of Sicily, a rascal from Agrigentum, a traitor to his native city. This fellow began to extol the beauty of that maiden, and of the other damsels too, that were belonging to him. On this he began to persuade the Procurer to go together with himself to Sicily. He said that there the men were given to pleasure, that there he might be enabled to become a wealthy man, that there was the greatest profit from courtesans. He prevails. A ship is hired by stealth. Whatever he has, by night the Procurer carries it on board ship from his house. The young man who purchased the damsel of him, he has told that he is desirous of performing a vow to Venus. This is the temple of Venus here,
pointing at it,
and here, for that reason, has he invited the youth hither to a breakfast. From there at once did he embark on board ship, and he carried off the courtesans. Some other persons informed the young man what things were going on, how that Procurer had departed. When the young man came to the harbor, their ship had got a great way out to sea. When I beheld how that the maiden was being carried off, I brought at the same instant both relief to her and destruction to the Procurer. The storm I rebuked, and the waves of the sea I aroused. For the most violent constellation of them all am I, Arcturus. Turbulent I am when rising, when I set, more turbulent still. Now, cast ashore there, both the Procurer and his guest are sitting upon a rock. Their ship is dashed to pieces, but this maiden, and another as well, her attendant, affrighted, have leaped from the ship into a boat. At this moment the waves are bringing them from the rocks to land, to the cottage of this old man, who's living here in exile, whose roof and tiles the storm has stripped off, and this is his servant, who is coming out of doors. The youth will be here just now, and you shall see him, who purchased the maiden of the Procurer. Now fare ye well, and may your foes distrust themselves.
Exit. Act 1, Scene 1. Enter Sceparnio, with a spade on his shoulder. Sceparnio, to himself.
Oh, ye immortal gods! What a dreadful tempest has Neptune sent us this last night! The storm has unroofed the cottage. What need of words is there? It was no storm, but what Alcmena met with in Euripides. It has so knocked all the tiles from off the roof. More light it has given us, and has added to our windows.
Scene 2. Enter Plesidippus, at a distance, talking with 3 citizens.
I have both withdrawn you from your avocations, and that has not succeeded, on account of which I have brought you. I could not catch the Procurer down at the harbour, but I have been unwilling to abandon all hope by reason of my remissness. On that account, my friends, have I the longer detained you. Now hither to the temple of Venus am I come to see, where he was saying that he was about to perform a sacrifice.
SceParnio, aloud to himself, at a distance.
If I am wise, I shall be getting ready this clay that is awaiting me.
Falls to work digging. Plesidippus, looking round.
Someone, I know not who, is speaking near to me.
Scene 3. Enter Daemones from his house.
Hello, SceParnio.
Who's calling me by name?
He who paid his money for you.
SceParnio, turning round.
As though you would say, Daemones, that I am your slave.
There's occasion for plenty of clay. Therefore, dig up plenty of earth. I find that the whole of my cottage must be covered, for now it's shining through it, more full of holes than a sieve.
Plesidippus, advancing.
Health to you, good father, and to both of you indeed.
Health to you.
SceParnio, to Plesidippus, who is muffled up in a coat.
But whether are you male or female who are calling him father?
Why, really, I'm a man.
Then, man, go seek a father elsewhere. I once had an only daughter, that only one I lost. Of the male sex, I never had a child.
But the gods will give...
SceParnio goes on digging.
A heavy mischance to you indeed, i' whoever you are, who are occupying us already occupied with your prating.
Plesidippus, pointing to the cottage.
Pray, are you dwelling there?
Why do you ask that? Are you reconnoitring the place for you to come and rob there?
It befits a slave to be right rich in his savings, whom, in the presence of his master, the conversation cannot escape, or who is to speak rudely to a free man.
And it befits a man to be shameless and impudent, for him to whom there's nothing owing, of his own accord to come to the house of another person, annoying people.
SceParnio, hold your tongue.
To Plesidippus.
What do you want, young man?
A mishap to that fellow who is in a hurry to be the first to speak when his master's present. But, unless it's troublesome, I wish to make enquiry of you in a few words.
My attention shall be given you, even though in the midst of business.
SceParnio, to Plesidippus.
Rather be off with you to the marsh and cut down some reeds with which we may cover the cottage while it is fine weather.
Hold your tongue.
To Plesidippus.
Do you tell me if you have need of anything?
Inform me on what I ask you. Whether you have seen here any frizzle-headed fellow with grey hair, a worthless, perjured, fawning knave.
Full many a one, for by reason of fellows of that stamp am I living in misery.
Him, I mean, who brought with him to the temple of Venus here 2 young women, and who was to make preparations for himself to perform a sacrifice, either today or yesterday.
By my faith, young man, for these very many days past, I haven't seen anyone sacrificing there. And yet it can't be unknown to me if anyone does sacrifice there. They are always asking here for water, or for fire, or for vessels, or for a knife, or for a spit, or for a pot for cooking, or something or other. What need is there of words? I procured my vessels and my well for the use of Venus, and not my own. There has now been a cessation of it for these many days past.
According to the words you utter, you tell me I'm undone.
Really, so far as I'm concerned, in faith, you may be safe and sound.
Sceparnio stopping in his digging.
Hark you, you that are roaming about temples for the sake of your stomach, 'twere better for you to order a breakfast to be got ready at home. Perhaps you've been invited here to breakfast. He that invited you, hasn't he come at all?
'Tis the fact.
There's no risk, then, of your betaking yourself hence home without your breakfast? It's better for you to be a waiter upon Ceres than upon Venus. The latter attends to love, Ceres attends to wheat.
Plesidippus to Daemones.
This fellow has been making sport of me in a most disgraceful manner.
Daemones looking out at the side.
Oh, ye immortal gods, Carpinio, what means those people near the seashore?
According to my notion, they've been invited to a parting breakfast.
How so?
Why, because after dinner, I fancy, they yesterday washed themselves clean. Their ship has gone to pieces out at sea.
Daemones looking steadfastly.
Such is the fact.
But, i'faith, on dry land our cottage and tiles have done the same.
Oh dear, what unfortunate creatures you are.
To Sceparnio.
How the shipwrecked people are swimming.
Prithee, where are these people?
Daemones pointing to the distance.
This way, to the right. Don't you see them near the shore?
Plesidippus looking the same way.
I see them.
To his friends.
Follow me. I only wish it may be he that I'm seeking, that most accursed fellow.
To Daemones and Sceparnio.
Fare you well.
If you hadn't put us in mind, we should have thought of that ourselves.
Exeunt Plesidippus and friends. Scene 4. Sceparnio and Daemones. Sceparnio looking out towards the sea.
But, oh, Palamon, hallowed associate of Neptune, who art said to be the partner of Hercules, what shocking thing do I see?
What do you see?
I see two young women sitting in a boat alone. How the poor things are being tossed about. That's good, well done. The surge is driving the boat away from the rock towards the shore. Not a pilot could have ever done it better. I don't think that I ever saw billows more huge. They are saved if they can escape those waves. Now's the danger. It has sent one overboard. See you that one whom the waves have thrown out of the boat? Still, she's in a shallow place. She'll easily wade through it now. Oh, capital. Now she's safe. She has escaped from the water. She's now on shore. But that other one has now sprung towards the land from the boat. From her alarm she has fallen into the waves upon her knees. She has got up again. If she takes this direction, the matter's safe. But she has taken to the right, to utter destruction. She will be wandering all the day.
Oh, what signifies that to you?
If she should fall down from that rock towards which she's winding her way, she'll be putting a period to her wanderings.
If you are about to dine this evening at their expense, I think you may then be concerned for them, Sceparnio. If you are going to eat at my house, I wish your services to be devoted to myself.
You ask what's good and proper.
Then follow me this way.
I follow.
Exeunt. Scene 5. Enter Palaestra at a distance with her clothes torn and drenched. Palaestra to herself.
By heavens, the mishaps of mortals are spoken of as much less bitter than the sharp pangs that are inflicted in the experience of them. Has this then pleased the deity, that I, clad in this guise, should, in my terror, be cast upon a spot unknown? Shall I then declare that I have been born to this wretched lot? Do I receive this meed in return for my exemplary piety? For to me it would not prove a hardship to endure this laborious lot, if I had conducted myself undutifully toward my parents or the gods. But if studiously I have exerted myself to beware of that, then, unduly and unjustly, deities, you send upon me this. For what henceforth shall the glaringly impious receive, if after this fashion you pay honor to the guiltless? But if I knew that I or my parents had done anything wicked, now should I have grieved the less. But the wickedness of this master of mine is pressing hard upon me. His impiety is causing my woes. Everything has he lost in the sea. These are the remains,
looking at her dress,
of his property. Even she who is carried together with me in the boat was washed out by the violence of the waves. I am now alone. If she at least had been saved for me, through her aid my affliction here would have been lighter to me. Now, what hope or aid or what counsel shall I receive? A spot so lonesome here have I lighted upon alone. Here are the rocks, here roars the sea, and not one individual comes across my path. This dress that I am clothed in forms all my riches quite entirely, nor know I with what food or roof I am to be provided. What hope have I through which to desire to live? Neither am I acquainted with the place, nor was I ever here before. At least I could have wished for someone who would point out to me either a road or a path from these spots. So much am I now at a loss for advice, whether to go this way or that. Neither, indeed, do I see anywhere near here a civilized spot. Cold distraction and alarm have taken possession of all my limbs. My parents, you know not of this, that I am now thus wretched. I that was born a woman entirely free, was so to no purpose. Am I at all the less in servitude now than if I had been born a slave? And never in any way has it been a profit to those who for their own sakes reared me up.
She advances forward and rests on one side against the cliff. Scene 6. Enter Ampelisca at a distance on the other side of the stage in a similar condition. Ampelisca to herself.
What is there better for me, what more to my advantage, than to shut out life from my body? So wretched am I in my existence, and so many deadening cares are there in my breast. So despicable is my lot, I care not for life. I have lost the hope with which I used to comfort myself. All places have I now rambled about, and through each covert spot have I crawled along to seek my fellow slave with voice, eyes, ears, that I might trace her out, and still I find her nowhere. Nor have I yet determined whither to go, nor where to seek her, nor in the meantime do I find any person here to give me an answer, of whom I might make inquiry. No place, too, is there on earth more solitary than are these spots in this locality. And yet, if she lives, never while I exist will I cease before I discover her alive.
Palaestra aloud.
Whose voice is that sounds close by me here?
Ampelisca starting.
I am alarmed. Who's speaking near me?
Prithee, kind hope, do come to my aid.
It's a woman. A woman's voice reaches my ears. Will you not rescue wretched me from this alarm?
Surely a woman's voice reached my ears. Prithee, is it Ampelesca?
Is it you, Palaestra, that I hear?
But why don't I call her by her own name, that she may hear me? Ampelesca!
Ha! Who's that?
'Tis I.
Is it Palaestra?
It is.
Tell me where you are.
Troth, I am now in the midst of a multitude of woes.
I am your partner, and no less is my own share than yours, but I long to see you.
In that wish, you are my rival.
Let's follow our voices with our steps. Where are you?
See, here I am. Step onward towards me, and come straight on to meet me.
I'm doing so with care.
They meet in front of the stage.
Give me your hand.
Take it.
Are you still alive? Prithee, tell me.
You indeed make me now wish to live, since I'm empowered to touch you. How hardly can I persuade myself of this, that I am holding you. Prithee, do embrace me.
They embrace.
My only hope, how you are now easing me of all my woes.
You are beforehand with me in using expressions which belong to me. Now it befits us to be going hence.
Prithee, whither shall we go?
Let's keep along this seashore.
Pointing to the shore.
Wherever you please, I'll follow.
Shall we go along thus with our wet clothing?
That which exists, the same must of necessity be borne.
Looking up at the temple.
But pray, what's this?
What is it?
Prithee, don't you see this temple?
Pointing towards it.
Where is it?
On the right hand.
I seem to be looking at a place becoming the divinities.
There must be people not far hence. It is so delightful a spot. Whoever the god is, I pray him to relieve us from these troubles, and to succor us females, wretched, helpless, and in distress.
They advance towards the temple and kneel down before it. Scene 7. Enter Ptolemocratia, the priestess, from the temple of Venus.
Who are these that in their prayers are soliciting aid from my patroness? For the voice of supplicants has brought me hither out of doors. They pay suit to a kind and compliant goddess, and a patroness that makes no difficulties, and one who is very benevolent.
Mother, we bid you hail.
Maidens, hail to you. But prithee, whence am I to say that you are hither come, with your wet garments, thus woefully arrayed?
Just now we came from a place there.
Pointing towards the shore.
Not a great way from this spot, but it is a great way off from here, whence we have been brought hither.
Have you been borne, do you mean, by a ship, the wooden steed, over the azure pass?
Even so.
That it were more fitting that you should have come arrayed in white, and provided with victims. It isn't the practice for people to come to this temple arrayed in that fashion.
Pointing at their dresses.
Prithee, whence would you have us, who have been both cast away at sea, to be bringing victims hither? Now in want of assistance, we do embrace your knees, we who are of hopes undefined, in places unknown, that you may receive us under your roof and shelter us, and that you will pity the miseries of us both, who have neither any place of refuge nor hope at hand, nor have anything whatever of our own beyond that which you see.
Give me your hands. Arise, both of you, from off your knees. No one among women is more compassionate than I.
They arise from the ground.
But maidens, my circumstances are poor and limited. With difficulty I support my own existence. Venus I serve for my maintenance.
Prithee, is this a temple of Venus?
I will admit it. I am styled the priestess of this temple. But whatever it is, it shall be done by me with a hearty welcome, so far as my means shall suffice. Come with me this way.
Kindly and attentively, Mother, do you show your attentions to us.
So I ought to do.
They go into the temple. End of Act 1. Act 2 of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1. Enter some fishermen with lines and nets.
Persons who are poor live wretchedly in every way, especially those who have no calling and have learned no art. Of necessity must that be deemed enough, whatever they have at home. From our garb, then, you pretty well understand how wealthy we are. These hooks and these rods here are as good to us as a calling and as our clothing. Each day from the city do we come out hither to the sea to seek for forage. Instead of exertion in the wrestling school and the place for exercise, we have this. Sea urchins, rock mussels, oysters, limpets, cockles, sea nettles, sea mussels, and spotted crabs we catch. After that, we commence our fishing with the hook and among the rocks, and thus we take our food from out of the sea. If success does not befall us, and not any fish is taken, soaked with salt water and thoroughly drenched, we quietly betake ourselves home, and without dinner go to sleep. And since the sea is now in waves so boisterous, no hope have we. Unless we take some cockles, without a doubt we've had our dinners. Now let us adore good Venus here, that she may kindly befriend us today.
They advance towards the door of the temple. Scene 2. Enter Trachalio at a distance, in haste. Trachalio to himself.
I've carefully given all attention that I mightn't pass my master anywhere, for when some time since he went out of the house, he said that he was going to the harbour, and he ordered me to come here to meet him at the temple of Venus. But see, opportunely do I spy some people standing here of whom I may inquire. I'll accost them.
Goes up to the fisherman.
Save you, thieves of the sea, shellfish gatherers and hook fishers, hungry race of men, how fare ye? How perish apace?
Just as befits a fisherman with hunger, thirst, and expectation.
Have you seen today, while you've been standing here, any young man of courageous aspect, ruddy, stout, of genteel appearance, come by this way, who was taking with him 3 men in scarves, with swords?
We know of no one coming this way of that appearance which you mention.
Have you seen any old feller, bald on the forehead and snub-nosed, of big stature, pot-bellied, with eyebrows awry, a narrow forehead, a knave, the scorn of gods and men, a scoundrel, one full of vile dishonesty and of iniquity, who had along with him 2 very pretty-looking young women?
One who has been born with qualities and endowments of that sort, 'twere really fitter for him to resort to the executioner than the temple of Venus.
But tell me if you have seen him.
Really, no one has passed this way. Fare you well.
Fare ye well.
Exeunt fisherman. Scene 3. Trachalio, alone. Trachalio to himself.
I thought so. It has come to pass as I suspected. My master has been deceived. The cursed Procurer has taken himself off to distant lands. He has embarked on board ship and carried the women away. I am a wizard. He invited my master here to breakfast as well, this very spawn of wickedness. Now what is better for me than to wait here in this spot till my master comes? At the same time, if this Priestess of Venus knows anything more, if I see her, I'll make inquiries, and she'll give me the information.
Scene 4. Enter Ampelesca from the temple. Ampelesca to the priestess within.
I understand. Here, at this cottage,
Pointing to it.
which is close by the temple of Venus, you've requested me to knock and ask for water.
Whose voice is it that has flown to my ears?
Prithee, who's speaking here? Who is it that I see?
Isn't this Ampelesca that's coming out from the temple?
Isn't this Trachalio that I see, the servant of Plesidippus?
It is she.
It is he. Trachalio, health to you.
Health, Ampelesca, to you. How fare ye?
In misery, I pass a life not far advanced.
Do you give some better omen?
Still, it behooves all prudent persons to confer and talk together. But prithee, where's your master, Plesidippus?
Marry, well said indeed, as if he wasn't within there.
Pointing to the temple.
By my troth, he isn't, nor, in fact, has he come here at all.
He hasn't come?
You say the truth.
That's not my way, Ampelesca. But how nearly is the breakfast got ready?
What breakfast, I beg of you?
The sacrifice, I mean, what that you are performing here.
Prithee, what is it you are dreaming about?
For certain Labrax invited Plesidippus hither to a breakfast. Your master, my master.
By my troth, you're telling of no wondrous facts. If he has deceived gods and men, he has only acted after the fashion of procurers.
Then neither yourselves nor my master are here performing a sacrifice.
You are a wizard.
What are you doing then?
The Priestess of Venus has received here into her abode both myself and Palaestra, after many mishaps and dreadful alarm, and from being in danger of our lives, destitute of aid and of resources.
Prithee, is Palaestra here, the beloved of my master?
Assuredly.
Great joyousness is there in your news, my dear Ampelesca. But I greatly long to know what was this danger of yours.
Last night our ship was wrecked, my dear Trachalio.
How ship? What story's this?
Prithee, have you not heard in what way the Procurer intended secretly to carry us away hence to Sicily? And how, whatever there was at home he placed on board ship, that is all gone to the bottom now.
Oh, clever Neptune, hail to thee! Surely no dicer is more skilful than thyself. Decidedly a right pleasant throw hast thou made. Thou didst break a villain. But where now is the Procurer Labrax?
Perished through drinking, I suppose. Neptune last night invited him to deep potations.
By my troth, I fancy it was given him to drink by way of cup of necessity. How much do I love you, my dear Ampelesca. How pleasing you are, what honeyed words you do utter. But you and Palaestra, in what way were you saved?
I'll let you know. Both in a fright, we leapt from the ship into a boat, because we saw that the ship was being borne upon a rock. In haste, I unloosed the rope while they were in dismay. The storm separated us from them with the boat in a direction to the right, and so, tossed about by winds and waves in a multitude of ways, we, wretched creatures, during the livelong night, half dead, the wind this day has scarce borne us to the shore.
I understand. Thus is Neptune wont to do. He is a very dainty aedile. If any wares are bad, over he throws them all.
Woe to your head and life.
To your own, my dear Ampelesca. I was sure that the Procurer would do that which he has done. I often said so. It were better I should let my hair grow and set up for a soothsayer.
Did you not take care then, you and your master, that he shouldn't go away when you knew this?
What could he do?
If he was in love, do you ask what he could do? Both night and day he should have kept watch. He should have been always on his guard. But, by my troth, he has done like many others. Thus finely has Plesidippus taken care of her.
For what reason do you say that?
The thing is evident.
Don't you know this? Even he who goes to the bath to bathe, while there he carefully keeps an eye on his garments, still they are stolen, inasmuch as some one of those that he is watching is a rogue. The thief easily marks them for whom he is upon the watch. The keeper knows not which one is the thief. But bring me to her. Where is she?
Well then, go here into the temple of Venus. You'll find her sitting there and in tears.
How disagreeable is that to me already? But why is she weeping?
I'll tell you. She's afflicting herself in mind for this, because the Procurer took away a casket from her, which she had, and in which she kept that by which she might be enabled to recognize her parents. She fears that this has been lost.
Where was that little casket, pray?
There, on board the ship. He himself locked it up in his wallet that there mightn't be the means by which she might recognize her parents.
Oh, scandalous deed! To require her to be a slave who ought to be a free woman.
Therefore she now laments that it is gone to the bottom along with the ship. There too was all the gold and silver of the Procurer.
Someone, I trust, has dived and brought it up.
For this reason is she sad and disconsolate, that she has met with the loss of them.
Then have I the greater occasion to do this, to go in and console her, that she mayn't thus distress herself in mind. For I know that many a lucky thing has happened to many a one beyond their hopes.
But I know, too, that hope has deceived many who have hoped.
Therefore, a patient mind is the best remedy for affliction. I'll go in, unless you wish for anything.
Goes into the temple.
Go.
To herself.
I'll do that which the priestess requested me, and I'll ask for some water here at the neighbors. For she said that if I asked for it in her name, they would give it directly. And I do think that I never saw a more worthy old lady, one to whom I should think that it is more befitting for gods and men to show kindness. How courteously, how heartily, how kindly, how without the least difficulty she received us into her home, trembling, in want, drenched, shipwrecked, half dead, not otherwise, in fact, than if we had been her own offspring. How kindly did she herself just now, tucking up her garments, make the water warm for us to bathe. Now that I mayn't keep her waiting, I'll fetch some water from the place where she requested me.
Knocking at the door of Daemones.
Hello there. Is there anyone in the cottage? Is anyone going to open this door? Will anyone come out?
Scene 5. Enter SceParnio from the cottage of Daemones.
Who is it so furiously making an attack upon our door?
It's I.
Well now, what good news is there?
Aside.
Dear me, a lass of comely appearance, troth.
Greeting to you, young man.
And many greetings to you, young woman.
I'm come to you.
I'll receive you with a welcome if you come in the evening by and by, just such as I could like. For just now I have no means to receive you, a damsel, thus early in the morning. But what have you to say, my smiling pretty one?
Chucks her under the chin.
Oh, you're handling me too familiarly.
Moves away.
Oh, ye immortal gods, she's the very image of Venus. What joyousness there is in her eyes, and only do see what a skin! 'Tis of the vulture's tint, rather the eagle's indeed I meant to say. Her breasts too, how beautiful! And then what expression on her lips!
Takes hold of her. Ampelesca, struggling.
I'm no common commodity for the whole township. Can't you keep your hands off me?
Sceparnio, patting her.
Won't you let me touch you, gentle one, in this manner, gently and lovingly?
When I have leisure, then I'll be giving my attention to toying and dalliance to please you. For the present, prithee, do either say me yes or no to the matter for which I was sent hither.
What now is it that you wish?
Ampelesca, pointing to her picture.
To a shrewd person, my equipment would give indications of what it is I want.
To a shrewd woman, this equipment too of mine would give indication of what it is I want.
Ampelesca, pointing to the temple.
The priestess there of Venus requested me to fetch some water from your house here.
But I'm a lordly sort of person. Unless you entreat me, you shan't have a drop. We dug this well with danger to ourselves and with tools of iron. Not a drop can be got out of me except by means of plenty of blandishments.
Prithee, why do you make so much fuss about the water, a thing that even enemy affords to enemy?
Why do you make so much fuss about granting a favour to me that citizen grants to citizen?
On the contrary, my sweet one, I'll even do everything for you that you wish.
Oh, charming, I am favoured. She's now calling me her sweet one. The water shall be given you, so that you mayn't be coaxing me in vain. Give me the pitcher.
Take it.
Gives it to him.
Make haste and bring it out. There's a dear.
Stay a moment. I'll be here this instant, my sweet one.
Goes into the cottage. Scene 6. Ampelesca alone.
What shall I say to the priestess for having delayed here so long a time? How, even still in my wretchedness, do I tremble when with my eyes I look upon the sea.
She looks towards the shore.
But what, to my sorrow, do I see afar upon the shore? My master, the Procurer, and his Sicilian guest, both of whom wretched I suppose to have perished in the deep. Still does this much more of evil survive for us than we had imagined. But why do I delay to run off into the temple and to tell Palaestra this, that we may take refuge at the altar before this scoundrel of a Procurer can come hither and seize us here? I'll betake myself away from this spot, for the necessity suddenly arises for me to do so.
Runs into the temple. Scene 7. Enter Sceparnio from the cottage. Sceparnio to himself.
Oh, ye immortal gods, I never did imagine that there was so great delight in water. How heartily I did draw this. The well seemed much less deep than formerly. How entirely without exertion did I draw this up. With all deference to myself, am I not a very silly fellow in having only today made a commencement of being in love?
Turning slowly round, he holds out the pitcher.
Here's the water for you, my pretty one. Here now, I would have you carry it with as much pleasure as I carry it, that you may please me.
Stares around him.
But where are you, my titbit? Do take this water, please. Where are you?
Again looks about.
Troth, she's in love with me, as I fancy. The roguish one's playing Bo Peep. Where are you? Are you going now to take this picture? Where are you, I say? You've carried the joke far enough. Really, do be serious at last. Once more, are you going to take this picture? Where in the world are you?
Looks about.
Troth, I don't see her anywhere for my part. She's making fun of me. Faith, I shall now set down this picture in the middle of the road. But yet, suppose any person should carry away from here this sacred picture of Venus, he would be causing me some trouble. Faith, I'm afraid that this woman's laying a trap for me, that I may be caught with the sacred picture of Venus. In such case, with very good reason, the magistrate will be letting me die in prison if anyone shall see me holding this. For it's marked with the name, it tells its own tale whose property it is. Troth now, I'll call that priestess here out of doors, that she may take this picture. I'll go there to the door.
He knocks.
Hello there, Ptolemakratia. Take this picture of yours, please. Some young woman, I don't know who, brought it here to me.
A pause.
It must then be carried indoors by me. I found myself a job, if in fact of my own accord water is to be carried by me for these people as well.
Goes into the temple with the pitcher. Scene 8. Enter Labrax, dripping wet, followed by Charmides at a distance, in the same plight. Labrax, grumbling to himself.
Oh, the person that chooses himself to be wretched and a beggar, let him trust himself and his life to Neptune. For if anyone has any dealings at all with him, he sends him back home equipped in this guise.
Surveying himself.
By my troth, Liberty, you were a clever one who were never willing to put even a foot faith on board ship with me. But...
Looking round.
Where's this guest of mine that has proved my ruin? Oh, see, here he comes.
Where the plague are you hurrying to, Labrax? For really I cannot follow you so fast.
I only wish that you had perished by direful torments in Sicily before I had looked upon you with my eyes, you on whose account this misfortune has befallen me.
I only wish that one day on which you admitted me into your house, I had laid me down in a prison sooner. I pray the immortal gods that so long as you live, you may have all your guests just like your own self.
In your person I admitted misfortune into my house. What business had I to listen to a rogue like you, or what to depart hence? Or why to go on board ship where I have lost even more wealth than I was possessor of?
Troth, I am far from being surprised if your ship has been wrecked, which was carrying yourself a villain, and your property villainously acquired.
You've utterly ruined me with your wheedling speeches.
A more accursed dinner of yours have I been dining upon than the ones that were set before Thyestes and Tereus.
I'm dying. I'm sick at heart. Prithee, do hold up my head.
By my troth, I could very much wish that you'd vomit up your lungs.
Alas! Palaestra and Ampelisca, where are you now?
Supplying food for the fishes at the bottom, I suppose.
You have brought beggary upon me by your means, while I was listening to your bragging lies.
You have reason deservedly to give me many hearty thanks, who from an insipid morsel by my agency have made you salt.
Nay, but do you get out from me to extreme and utter perdition?
You be off. I was just going to do that very thing.
Alas, what mortal being is there living more wretched than I?
I am by very far much more wretched, Labrax, than yourself.
How so?
Because I am not deserving of it, whereas you are deserving.
Oh, bulrush, I do praise your lot, who always maintain your credit for dryness.
Charmides, his teeth chattering.
For my part, I am exercising myself for a skirmishing fight, for from my shivering I utter all my words in a piecemeal flashes.
By my troth, Neptune, you are a purveyor of chilly baths. Since I got away from you with my clothes I've been freezing. No hot liquor shop at all for sure does he provide. So salt and cold the potions that he prepares.
How lucky are the blacksmiths, who are always sitting among hot coals. They are always warm.
I only wish that I were now enjoying the lot of the duck, so as although I had just come from out of the water, still to be dry.
What if I, some way or other, let myself out at the games for a hobgoblin?
For what reason?
Because, I faith, I am chattering aloud with my teeth. But I am of opinion that, with very good reason, I have had this ducking.
How so?
Why, haven't I ventured to go on board ship with yourself, who have been stirring up the ocean for me from the very bottom?
I listened to you in advising me. You assured me that there in Sicily was very great profit from courtesans. There, you used to say, I should be able to amass wealth.
Did you expect then, you unclean beast, that you were going to gobble up the whole island of Sicily?
What whale, I wonder, has gobbled up my wallet, where all my gold and silver was packed up?
That someone, I suppose, that has swallowed my purse, which was full of silver, in my travelling bag.
Alas, I'm reduced even to this one poor tunic.
Stretching it out.
And to this poor shabby cloak. I'm done for to all intents.
Then you may even go into partnership with me. We have got equal shares.
If at least my damsels had been saved, there would have been some hope. Now if the young man Plesidippus should be seeing me, from whom I received the earnest for Palaestra, he'll then be causing me some trouble in consequence.
Why cry, you fool? Really, by my troth, so long as your tongue shall exist, you have abundance with which to make payment to everybody.
Scene 9. Enter Sceparnio from the temple. Sceparnio to himself aloud.
What to do is this, I'd like to know, that two young women here in the temple in tears are holding in their embraces the statue of Venus, dreading I know not what in their wretchedness. But they say that this last night they have been tossed about, and today cast on shore from the waves.
Labrax, overhearing.
Troth now, young man, prithee, where are these young women that you are talking of?
Here.
Pointing.
In the temple of Venus.
How many are there?
Just as many as you and I make.
Surely they are mine.
Surely I know nothing about that.
Of what appearance are they?
Good looking. I could even fall in love with either of them, if I were well liquored.
Surely they are the damsels.
Surely you are a nuisance. Be off, go in and see if you like.
These must be my wenches in there, my dear Charmides.
Jupiter confound you, both if they are, and still if they are not.
I'll straightway burst into this temple of Venus here.
Into the bottomless pit, I would rather.
Labrax rushes into the temple and shuts the door. Scene 10. Charmides and Sceparnio.
Prithee, stranger, show me some spot where I may go to sleep.
Go to sleep there, wherever you please.
Points to the ground.
No one hinders, it's free to the public.
Charmides, pointing to his clothes.
But do you see me in what wet clothes I am dressed? Do take me under shelter, lend me some dry clothes, while my own are drying. On some occasion I'll return you the favour.
See, here's my outer coat, which alone is dry. That, if you like, I'll lend you.
Takes it off and holds it out to him.
In that same I'm wont to be clothed, by that same protected when it rains. Do you give me those clothes of yours, I'll soon have them dried.
How now, are you afraid that as I have been washed bare last night at sea, I mayn't be made bare again here upon shore?
Wash you bare or anoint you well, I don't care one fig. I shall never entrust anything to you unless upon a pledge being taken. Do you either sweat away or perish with cold, be you either sick or well. I'll put up with no stranger guest in my house. I've had disagreements enough.
Puts on his coat again and goes into the house of Daemones. Scene 11. Charmides alone.
What are you of?
A pause.
He is a trafficker in slaves for money. Whoever he is, he has no bowels of compassion. But why in my wretchedness am I standing here soaking? Why don't I rather go away from here into the temple of Venus, that I may sleep off this debauch which I got with drinking last night against the bent of my inclination? Neptune has been drenching us with salt water as though we were Greek wines, and so he hoped that our stomachs might be vomited up with his salt draughts. What need of words? If he had persisted in inviting us a little longer, we should have gone fast asleep there. As it is, hardly alive has he sent us off home. Now I'll go see the Procurer, my boon companion, what he is doing within.
Goes into the temple. End of Act 2. Act 3 of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. Enter Daemones from his house. Daemones to himself.
In wondrous ways do the gods make sport of men. In wondrous fashions do they send dreams in sleep. Not the sleeping even do they allow to rest. As, for example, I, this past night which is gone by, dreamed a wonderful and a curious dream. A she-ape seemed to be endeavoring to climb up to a swallow's nest, and she was not able thence to take them out. After that, the ape seemed to come to me to beg me to lend a ladder to her. I, in these terms, gave answer to the ape, that swallows are the descendants of Philomela and of Progny. I expostulated with her that she might not hurt those of my country. But then she began to be much more violent, and seemed gratuitously to be threatening me with vengeance. She summoned me to a court of justice. Then, in my anger, I seemed to seize hold of the ape by the middle, in what fashion I know not, and I fastened up with chains this most worthless beast. Now to what purpose I shall say that this dream tends, never have I this day been able to come to any conclusion.
A loud noise is heard in the temple.
But what's this noise that arises in the temple of Venus, my neighbor? My mind's in wonder about it.
Scene 2. Enter Trachalio in haste from the temple.
O citizens of Cyrene, I implore your aid, countrymen. You who are near neighbours to these spots, bring aid to the helplessness and utterly crush a most vile attempt. Inflict vengeance, that the power of the wicked who wish themselves to be distinguished by crimes may not be stronger than of the guiltless. Make an example for the shameless man. Give its reward to modest virtue. Cause that one may be allowed to live here rather under the control of the laws than of brute force. Hasten hither into the temple of Venus. Again I do implore your aid, you who are here at hand and who hear my cries. Bring assistance to those who, after the recognised usage, have entrusted their lives to Venus and to the Priestess of Venus under their protection. Wring ye the neck of iniquity before it reaches yourselves.
What's all this to do?
Trachalio embracing Daemones' knees.
By these knees of yours I do entreat you, old gentleman, whoever you are.
Nay, but do you let go my knees, then, and tell me why it is that you are making a noise.
I do beg and entreat you that if you hope this year that you will have an abundance of laser wort and silphium, and that the export will arrive at Capua safe and sound, and that you may ever enjoy freedom from diseased eyes.
Are you in your senses?
Or whether you trust that you will have plenty of juice of silphium, that you will not hesitate to give me the aid of which I shall entreat of you, aged sir.
And I, by your legs and ankles and back, do entreat you that, if you hope that you will have a crop of elm twigs, and that a fruitful harvest of beatings will this year be your lot, you will tell me what's the matter here, by reason of which you are making this uproar.
Why do you choose to speak me ill? For my part, I wished you everything that's good.
And for my part, I'm speaking to you well, in praying that things which you deserve may befall you.
Prithee, do prevent this.
What's the matter, then?
Trachalio, pointing to the temple.
2 innocent women are inside here, in need of your aid, on whom, against law and justice, an injury has been, is being glaringly committed here in the temple of Venus. Besides, the Priestess of Venus is being disgracefully insulted.
What person is there of effrontery so great as to dare to injure the priestess? But these women, who are they? Or what injury is being done to them?
If you give me your attention, I'll tell you. They have clung to the statue of Venus. A most audacious fellow is now trying to tear them away. They ought, by rights, both of them to be free.
What fellow is it that so lightly holds the gods? In a few words, tell me.
One most full of fraud, villainy, parasite, and perjury. A lawbreaker and immodest, unclean, most shameless fellow. To sum up all in one word, here's a procurer. Why need I say more about him?
Troth now, you tell of a man that ought to be handed over to retribution.
A villain, to seize the priestess by the throat.
By my troth, but he has done it at his own great peril.
Calls aloud at his door.
Come you out of doors here, Turbalio and Spartax. Where are you?
Prithee do go in and hasten to their rescue.
And am I to call for them once more?
Enter Turbalio and Sparax from the cottage.
Follow me this way.
Come on now this instant. Bid them tear his eyes out, just in the way that cooks do cuttlefish.
Drag the fellow out here by his legs, just like a slaughtered pig.
Daemones and his servants go into the temple. Trachalio, listening at the door.
I hear a scuffling. The Procurer, I guess, is being belaboured with their fists. I'd very much like them to knock the teeth out of the jaws of the most villainous fellow. But see, here are the women themselves coming out of the temple in consternation.
Scene 3. Enter Palaestra and Ampelisca in haste from the temple with dishevelled locks.
Now is that time arrived when destitution of all resources and aid, succor and defence overtakes us. Neither hope nor means is there to bring us aid, nor know we in what direction we should commence to proceed. In exceeding terror, now are we both in this our wretchedness. Such cruelty and such outrage have been committed towards us, just now indoors here by our master, who, in his villainy, pushed down the old lady, the priestess, headlong, and struck her in a very disgraceful manner, and with his violence tore us away from the inner side of the statue. But as our lot and our fortunes are now showing themselves, 'twere best to die, nor in our miseries is there anything better than death.
Trachalio, behind.
What's this? Whose words are those? Why do I delay to console them? Hark ye, Palaestra, Ampelisca, hark ye!
Prithee, who is it that calls us?
Who is it that calls me by name?
If you turn round and look, you'll know.
Palaestra, turning round.
Oh, hope of my safety!
Be silent and of good courage. Trust me.
If only it can be so, let not violence overwhelm us.
What violence?
The same which is driving me to commit violence on myself.
Oh, do leave off. You are being very silly.
Then do you leave off at once your consoling me in my misery with words.
Unless you afford us protection in reality, Trachalio, it's all over with us.
I am resolved to die sooner than suffer this Procurer to get me in his power. But still I am of woman's heart. When, in my misery, death comes into my mind, fear takes possession of my limbs.
By my troth, although this is a bitter affliction, do have a good heart.
Why, where, pray, is a good heart to be found for me?
Don't you fear, I tell you. Sit you down here by the altar.
Points to it.
What can this altar possibly avail us more than the statue here within the temple of Venus, from which just now, embracing it in our wretchedness, we were torn by force?
Only you be seated here, then I'll protect you in this spot. This altar you possess as though your bulwarks, these your fortifications. From this spot will I defend you. With the aid of Venus I'll march against the wickedness of the Procurer.
We will follow your instructions.
They advance to the altar and kneel.
And genial Venus, we both of us, in tears, implore thee, embracing this thy altar, bending upon our knees, that thou wilt receive us into thy guardianship, and be our protector, that thou wilt punish those wretches who have set at naught thy temple, and that thou wilt suffer us to occupy this thy altar with thy permission, we who last night were by the might of Neptune cast away. Hold us not in scorn, and do not for that reason impute it to us as a fault, if there is anything that thou shouldst think is not so well attended to by us as it ought to have been.
I think they ask what's just. It ought, Venus, by thee to be granted. Thou oughtest to pardon them. 'Tis terror forces them to do this. They say that thou wast born from a shell. Take thou care that thou dost not despise the shells of these. But see, most opportunely the old gentleman is coming out, both my protector and your own.
He goes to the altar. Scene 4. Enter Daemones from the temple with his 2 servants, dragging out Labrax.
Come out of the temple, you most sacrilegious of men, as many as have ever been born.
Calling to the women.
Do you go, and sit by the altar.
Not seeing them near the door.
But where are they?
Look round here.
Daemones, looking round.
Very good. I wanted that. Now bid him come this way.
To Labrax.
Are you attempting here among us to commit a violation of the laws against the deities?
To the servants, who obey with alacrity.
Punch his face with your fists.
I'm suffering these indignities at your own cost.
Why, the insolent fellow's threatening even.
I've been robbed of my rights. You are robbing me of my female slaves against my will.
Do you then find some wealthy man of the Senate of Cyrene as judge, whether these women ought to be yours, or whether they oughtn't to be free, and whether it isn't right that you should be clapped into prison, and there spend your life, until you have worn the whole jail out with your feet?
I wasn't prepared to prophesy for this day that I should be talking with a hang-gallows like yourself.
Turning to Daemones.
You do I summon to judgment.
Daemones, pointing to Trachalio.
In the first place, try it with him who knows you.
Labrax to Daemones.
My suit is with yourself.
That it thus me with myself.
Pointing to the women.
Are these your female slaves?
They are.
Just come then. Touch either of them with your little finger only.
What if I do touch them?
That very instant, upon my faith, I'll make a handball of you, and while you are in the air I'll belabour you with my fists, you most perjured villain.
Am I not to be allowed to take away my female slaves from the altar of Venus?
You may not. Such is the law with us.
I've no concern with your laws. For my part, I shall at once carry them both away from here. If you are in love with them, old gentleman,
holding out his hand,
you must down here with the ready cash.
But these women have proved pleasing to Venus.
She may have them, if she pays the money.
A goddess pay you money? Now then, that you may understand my determination, only do you commence in mere joke to offer them the very slightest violence. I'll send you away from here with such a dressing that you won't know your own self.
Turning to his servants.
You, therefore, when I give you the signal, if you don't beat his eyes out of his head, I'll trim you round about with rods, just like beds of myrtle with bulrushes.
You are treating me with violence.
What? Do you even upbraid us with violence, you flagrant specimen of flagitiousness?
You thrice-dotted villain, do you dare to speak abusively to me?
I am a thrice-dotted villain. I confess it. You are a strictly honourable man. Ought these women a bit the less to be free?
What? Free?
Ay, and your mistresses too, i' faith, and from genuine Greece, for one of them was born at Athens, of free-born parents.
What is it I hear from you?
That she,
pointing to Palaestra,
was born at Athens, a free-born woman.
Daemones to Trachalio.
Prithee, is she a countrywoman of mine?
Are you not a Cyrenian?
No, born at Athens in Attica, bred and educated there.
Prithee, aged sir, do protect your countrywomen.
Daemones aside.
Oh, daughter, when I look on her, separated from me, you remind me of my miseries. She who was lost by me when 3 years old, Now, if she is living, she's just about as tall, I'm sure, as she.
Pointing to Palaestra.
I paid the money down for these two, to their owners, of whatever country they were. What matters it to me whether they were born at Athens or at Thebes, so long as they are rightfully in servitude as my slaves?
Is it so, you impudent fellow? What are you? A cat prowling after maidens to be keeping children here kidnapped from their parents and destroying them in your disgraceful calling? But as for this other one, I really don't know what her country is. I only know that she's more deserving than you most abominable rascal.
Are these women your property?
Come to the trial, then. Which of the two, according to his back, is the more truthful? If you don't bear more compliments upon your back than any ship of war has nails, then I am the greatest of liars. Afterwards, do you examine mine when I have examined yours. If it shall not prove to be so untouched that any leather flask maker will say that it is a hide most capital and most sound for the purposes of his business, what reason is there why I shouldn't mangle you with stripes, even till you have your belly full? Why do you stare at them? If you touch them, I'll tear your eyes out.
Yet notwithstanding, although you forbid me to do so, I'll at once carry them off both together with me.
What will you do?
I'll bring Vulcan. He is an enemy to Venus.
Goes towards Daemones' cottage.
Whither is he going?
Labrax, calling at the door.
Hello? Is there anybody here? Hello, I say.
If you touch the door, that very instant, upon my faith, you shall get a harvest upon your face with fists for your pitchforks.
We keep no fire. We live upon dried figs.
I'll find the fire, if only I have the opportunity of kindling it upon your head.
Faith, I'll go somewhere to look for some fire.
What, when you've found it?
I'll be making a great fire here.
What, to be burning a mortuary sacrifice for yourself?
No, but I'll burn both of these alive here upon the altar.
I'd like that. For my troth, I forthwith seize you by the head and throw you into the fire, and half roasted I'll throw you out as food for the great birds. When I come to a consideration of it with myself, this is that ape that wanted to take away those swallows from the nest against my will, as I was dreaming in my sleep.
Aged sir, do you know what I request of you? That you will protect these females and defend them from violence until I fetch my master.
Go look for your master, and fetch him here.
But don't let him...
At his own extreme peril if he touches them, or if he attempts to do so.
Take care.
Due care is taken. Do you be off.
Then watch him too, that he doesn't go away anywhere. For we have promised either to give the executioner a great talent, or else to produce this fellow this very day.
Do you only be off? I'll not let him get away while you are absent.
I'll be back here soon.
Exit Trachalio. Scene 5. Daemones, Labrax, Palaestra, Ampelisca, and servants. Daemones to Labrax, who is struggling with the servants.
Which, you procurer, had you rather do? Be quiet with a thrashing, or, e'en as it is, without the thrashing, if you had the choice?
Old fellow, I don't care a straw for what you say. My own women, in fact, I shall drag away this instant from the altar by the hair, in spite of yourself, and Venus, and supreme Jove.
Just touch them.
Labrax, going towards them.
In troth, I surely will touch them.
Just come, then. Only approach this way.
Only bid both those fellows, then, to move away from there.
On the contrary, they shall move towards you.
Faith, for my own part, I don't think so.
If they do move nearer to you, what will you do?
I'll retire. But, old fellow, if ever I catch you in the city, Never again, upon my faith, shall anyone call me a procurer if I don't give you some most disagreeable sport.
Do what you threaten. But now, in the meantime, if you do touch them, a heavy punishment shall be inflicted on you.
How heavy, in fact?
Just as much as is sufficient for a procurer.
These threats of yours I don't value one straw. I certainly shall seize them both this instant without your leave.
Just touch them.
By my troth, I surely will touch them.
You will touch them, but you know with what result? Go then, Turbalio, with all haste, and bring hither from out of the house 2 cudgels.
Cudgels?
Aye, good ones. Make haste speedily.
Turbalio goes in.
I'll let you have a reception this day in proper style, as you are deserving of.
Labrax aside.
Alas, cursedly unfortunate. I lost my headpiece in the ship. It would now have been handy for me if it had been saved.
To Daemones.
May I at least address these women?
You may not.
Turbalio enters, bringing 2 cudgels.
Well now, by my faith, look, the cudgel man is coming very opportunely here.
Labrax aside.
By my troth, this surely is a tingling for my ears.
Come, Sparax, do you take this other cudgel.
Gives him one.
Come, take your stand, one on one side, the other on one other. Take your stations, both of you.
They stand with lifted cudgels on each side of the altar.
Just so. Now then attend to me. If, in faith, that fellow there should this day touch these women with his finger against their inclination, if you don't give him a reception with these cudgels even to that degree that he shan't know which way he is to get home, you are undone, both of you. If he shall call for any one, do you make answer to this fellow in their stead. But if he himself shall attempt to get away from here, at that instant, as hard as you can, lay on his legs with your sticks.
Are they not even to allow me to go away from here?
I've said sufficient. And when that servant comes here with his master, he that has gone to fetch his master, do you at once go home. Attend to this with great diligence, will you?
Daemones goes into his house. Scene 6. Palaestra, Ampeliska, Labrax, and the servants.
Oh, rare, by my troth! The temple here is surely changed all of a sudden. This is now the temple of Hercules, which was that of Venus before. In such fashion has the old fellow planted 2 statues here with clubs. I'faith, I don't know whither in the world I shall fly from here. So greatly are they both raging now against me, both land and sea. Palaestra!
What do you want?
Away with you. There is a misunderstanding between us. That indeed is not my Palaestra that answers. Harkee, Ampeliska!
Beware of a mishap, will you?
Labrax aside.
So far as they can, the worthless fellows advise me rightly enough. But harkee, I ask you whether it is any harm to you for me to come nearer to these women?
Why, none at all to ourselves.
Will there be any harm to myself?
None at all, if you only take care.
What is it that I am to take care against?
Why, look you, against a heavy mishap.
Troth now, prithee, do let me approach them.
Approach them, if you like.
I'faith, obligingly done. I return you thanks. I'll go nearer to them.
Approaches them.
Do you stand there on the spot, where you are?
Drags him to his place with the cudgel over his head. Labrax aside.
By my faith, I've come scurvily off in many ways. Still, I'm resolved to get the better of them this day by constantly besieging them.
Scene 7. Enter Plesidippus and Trachalio at a distance, on the other side of the stage.
And did the Procurer attempt by force and violence to drag my mistress away from the altar of Venus?
Even so.
Why didn't you kill him on the instant?
I hadn't a sword.
You should have taken either a stick or a stone.
What? Ought I to have pelted this most villainous fellow with stones like a dog?
Labrax aside on seeing them.
By my troth, but I'm undone now. See, here's Plesidippus. He'll be sweeping me away altogether this moment with the dust.
Were the damsels sitting on the altar, even then when you set out to come to me?
Yes, and now they are sitting in the same place.
Who is now protecting them there?
Some old gentleman. I don't know who, a neighbour of the Temple of Venus. He gave very kind assistance. He is now protecting them with his servants. I committed them to his charge.
Lead me straight to the Procurer. Where is this fellow?
They go towards Labrax.
Health to you.
I want none of your healths. Make your choice quickly, whether you had rather be seized by your throat wrenched or be dragged along. Choose whichever you please while you may.
I wish for neither.
Be off then, Trachalio, with all speed to the seashore. Bid those persons that I brought with me to hand over this rascal to the executioner, to come from the harbour to the city to meet me. Afterwards return hither, and keep guard here. I'll now drag this scoundrelly outcast to justice.
Exit Trachalio. Scene 8. Plesidippus, Labrax, Palaestra, and servants. Plesidippus to Labrax.
Come, proceed to the court of justice.
In what have I offended?
Do you ask? Didn't you receive an earnest of me for this woman?
Pointing to Palaestra.
And carry her off from here?
I didn't carry her off.
Why do you deny it?
Troth now, because I put her on board ship. Carry her off, unfortunately, I couldn't. For my part, I told you that this day I would make my appearance at the Temple of Venus. Have I swerved at all from that? Am I not here?
Plead your cause in the court of justice. Here a word is enough. Follow me.
They lay hold of him.
I entreat you, my dear Charmides, do come to my rescue. I'm being seized with my throat wrenched.
Scene 9. Enter Charmides from the temple. Charmides looking about.
Who calls my name?
Do you see me how I'm being seized?
I see, and view it with pleasure.
Don't you venture to assist me?
What person is seizing you?
Young Plesidippus.
What you've got, put up with, 'twere better for you, with a cheerful spirit to sling to jail that has befallen you, which many greatly wish for themselves.
What's that?
To find for themselves that which they are seeking.
I entreat you, do follow me.
You try to persuade me, just like what you are. You are being taken off to jail. For that reason is it you entreat me to follow you?
Plesidippus to Labrax.
Do you still resist?
I'm undone.
I trust that may prove the truth. You, my dear Palaestra and Ampelisca, do you remain here in the meanwhile until I return hither?
I would advise them rather to go to our house until you return.
I'm quite agreeable. You act obligingly.
The servants open the door of the cottage, and Palaestra and Ampelisca go in.
You are thieves to me.
How thieves?
Lead him along.
The servants seize him.
I pray and entreat you, Palaestra.
Follow, you hangdog.
Guest, Charmides.
I am no guest of yours. I repudiate your hospitality.
What? Do you slight me in this fashion?
I do so. I have been drinking with you once already.
May the deities confound you.
To that person of yours, say that.
Plesidippus leads Labrax off, followed by the servants. Scene 10. Charmides alone.
I do believe that men are transformed, each into a different beast. That Procurer, I guess, is transformed into a stock dove. For before long, his neck will be in the stocks. He will today be building his nest in the jail. Still, However, I'll go, that I may be his advocate, if by my aid he may be possibly be sentenced any the sooner.
End of Act 3. Act 4 of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. Enter Daemones from his cottage. Daemones to himself.
'Twas rightly done, and it's a pleasure this day for me to have given aid to these young women. I have now found some dependents, and both of them of comely looks and youthful age. But my plaguy wife is watching me in all ways, lest I should be giving any hint to the young women. But I wonder what in the world my servant Gripus is about, who went last night to the sea to fish. Troth, he has done wiser if he had slept at home, for now he throws away both his pains and his nets, seeing what a storm there now is and was last night. I'll thoroughly cook upon my fingers what he has caught to-day, so violently do I see the ocean heaving.
A bell rings.
But my wife's calling me to breakfast. I'll return home. She'll now be filling my ears with her silly prating.
Goes into the cottage. Scene 2. Enter Gripus, dragging a net enclosing a wallet by a rope. Gripus to himself.
These thanks do I return to Neptune, my patron, who dwells in the salt retreats, the abode of fishes, inasmuch as he has dispatched me finally laden on my return from his retreats, and from his temples laden with most abundant booty, with safety to my boat, which in the stormy sea made me master of a singular and rich haul. In a wondrous and incredible manner has this haul turned out prosperously for me, nor yet have I this day taken a single ounce weight of fish, but only that which I am here bringing with me in my net. For when I arose in the middle of the night, and without sloth, I preferred profit to sleep and rest. In the raging tempest I determined to try how I might lighten the poverty of my master and my own servitude, not sparing of my own exertions. Most worthless is the man that is slothful, and most detestably do I hate that kind of men. It behooves him to be vigilant who wishes to do his duty in good time, for it befits him not to be waiting until his master arouses him to his duties. For those who sleep on for the love of it rest without profit to themselves and to their own cost. But now I, who have not been slothful, have found that for myself through which to be slothful if I should choose.
Points to the wallet.
This have I found in the sea to-day. Whatever's in it, it's something heavy that's in it. I think it's gold that's in it, and not a single person is there my confidant in the matter. Now, Gripus, this opportunity has befallen you, that the praetor might make you a free man from among the multitude. Now thus shall I do this in my determination. I'll come to my master cleverly and cunningly. Little by little I'll promise money for my freedom, that I may be free. Now, when I shall be free, then, in fine, I'll provide me land and houses and slaves. I'll carry on merchandise with large ships. Among the grandees I shall be considered a grandee. Afterwards, for the sake of pleasing myself, I'll build me a ship, and I'll imitate Stratonicus, and I'll be carried about from town to town. When my greatness is far spread, I shall fortify some great city. To that city I shall give the name Gripus, a memorial of my fame and exploits, and there I'll establish a mighty kingdom. I am resolving here in my mind to prepare for mighty matters. At present I'll hide this booty, but this grandee,
pointing to himself,
is about to breakfast upon vinegar and salt without any good substantial meat.
gathers up the net and drags it after him. Scene 3. Enter Trachalio in haste.
Hello there. Stop!
Oh, why should I stop?
Will I coil up this rope for you that you are dragging?
Now let it alone.
Troth, but I'll assist you. What's kindly done to worthy men isn't thrown away.
Ah, there was a boisterous tempest yesterday. No fish have I, young man. Don't you be supposing I have. Don't you see that I'm carrying my dripping net without the scaly race?
I' faith, I'm not wishing for fish so much as I am in need of your conversation.
Then, whoever you are worrying me to death with your annoyance.
Trachalio takes hold of him.
I'll not allow you to go away from here. Stop.
Take you care of a mishap, if you please. But why the plague are you dragging me back?
Listen.
I won't listen.
But upon my faith you shall listen.
Nay, but another time, tell me what you want.
Come now, it's worth your while at once to hear what I want to tell you.
Say on, whatever it is.
See whether any person is following near us.
Looks back.
Why? What reason is there that it should matter to me?
So it is. But can you give me some good advice?
What's the business? Only tell me.
I'll tell you. Keep silence. If only you will give me your word that you won't prove treacherous to me.
I do give you my word. I'll be true to you, whoever you are.
Listen. I saw a person commit a theft. I knew the owner to whom that same property belonged. Afterwards I came myself to the thief, and I made him a proposal on these terms. I know the person on whom that theft was committed. Now if you are ready to give me half, I'll not make a discovery to the owner. He didn't even give me an answer. What is it fair should be given me out of it? Half, I trust you'll say.
Aye, even more. But unless he gives it to you, I think it ought to be told to the owner.
I'll act on your advice. Now give me your attention, for it is to yourself all this relates.
What has been done by me?
Trachalio, pointing at the wallet.
I've known the person for a long time to whom that wallet belongs.
What do you mean?
And in what manner it was lost.
But I know in what manner it was found, and I know the person who found it, and who is now the owner. That, a faith, is not a bit the more your matter than it is my own. I know the person to whom it now belongs, you the person to whom it formerly belonged. This shall no individual get away from me. Don't you be expecting to get it in a hurry.
If the owner comes, shan't he get it away?
That you mayn't be mistaken, no born person is there that's owner of this but my own self, who took this in my own fishing.
Was it really so?
Which fish in the sea will you say is my own? When I catch them, if indeed I do catch them, they are my own. As my own I keep them. They are not claimed as having a right to freedom, nor does any person demand a share in them. In the market I will sell them all openly as my own wares. Indeed, the sea is, surely, common to all persons.
I agree to that. Prithee, then, why any the less is it proper that this wallet should be common to me? He was found in the sea.
Assuredly you are an outrageously impudent fellow. For if this is justice, which you are saying, then fishermen would be ruined, inasmuch as the moment that the fish were exposed upon the stalls, no one would buy them. Every person would be demanding his own share of the fish for himself. He would be saying that they were caught in the sea that was common to all.
What do you say, you impudent fellow? Do you dare to compare a wallet with fish? Pray, does it appear to be the same thing?
The matter doesn't lie in my powers, when I've cast my hook and the net into the sea. Whatever has adhered, I draw out. Whatever my net and hooks have got, that in especial is my own.
Nay, but i' faith it is not. if indeed you fished up any article that's made.
A philosopher, you?
But look now, you conjurer. Did you ever see a fisherman who caught a wallet fish, or exposed one for sale in the market? But indeed, you shan't here be taking possession of all the profits that you choose. You expect, you dirty fellow, to be both a maker of wallets and a fisherman. Either you must show me a fish that is a wallet, or else you shall carry nothing off that wasn't produced in the sea and has no scales.
What, did you never hear before today that a wallet was a fish?
Villain, there is no such fish.
Yes, there certainly is. I, who am a fisherman, know it. But it is seldom caught. No fish more rarely comes near the land.
It's to no purpose. You hope that you can be cheating me, you rogue. Of what colour is it?
Gripus, looking at the wallet.
Of this colour very few are caught. Some are of a purple skin. There are great and black ones also.
I understand. By my troth, you'll be turning into a wallet fish, I fancy, if you don't take care. Your skin will be purple, and then afterwards black.
Gripus, aside.
What a villain this, that I have met with today.
We are wasting words. The day wears apace. Consider, please, by whose arbitration do you wish us to proceed?
By the arbitration of the wallet.
Really so, indeed? You are a fool.
My respects to you, Mr. Thales.
Going. Trachalio, holding him.
You shan't carry that off this day, unless you find a place of safe keeping for it, or an umpire, by whose arbitration this matter may be settled.
Prithee, are you in your senses?
I'm mad, in need of hellebore.
But I'm troubled with sprites. Still, I shan't let this go.
Hugs the wallet.
Only add a single word more, that instant I'll drive my fist smash into your brains. This instant, on this spot, just as a new napkin is wont to be wrung, I'll wring out of you whatever moisture there is if you don't let this go.
Seizes the wallet.
Touch me. I'll dash you down on the ground just in such a fashion as I'm in the habit of doing with polypus fish. Would you like to fight?
Assumes a boxing attitude.
What need is there? Nay, in preference, divide the booty.
You can't get anything from here but harm to yourself, so don't expect it. I'm taking myself off.
But I'll turn aside your ship from that direction that you mayn't be off anywhere. Stop.
Stands in front of him and holds the rope.
If you are the helmsman of the ship, I'll be the pilot. Let go the rope now, you villain.
I will let go. Do you let go of the wallet?
In faith, you shall never this day become a scrap the more wealthy from this.
You cannot convince me by repeatedly denying unless either a part is given me, or it is referred to arbitration, or it is placed in safe keeping.
What? That which I got out of the sea?
But I spied it out from the shore.
With my own pains and labour, and net and boat.
If now the owner, whose property it is, were to come, how am I, who espied from afar that you had taken this, a bit the less the thief than yourself?
None whatever.
Going. Trachalio seizing the net.
Stop, you whip knave. Just let me learn of you by what reasoning I am not the sharer and yet the thief.
I don't know. Neither do I know these city laws of yours. Only that I affirm that this is mine.
Looks at the wallet.
And I, too, say that it is mine.
Stay now. I've discovered by what method you may be neither thief nor sharer.
By what method?
Let me go away from here. You quietly go your own way, and don't you inform against me to anyone, and I won't give anything to you. You hold your tongue, I'll be mum. This is the best and fairest plan.
Well, what proposition do you venture to make?
I've made it already, for you to go away, to let go of the rope, and not to be a nuisance to me.
Stop while I propose terms.
Faith, do prithee dispose of yourself forthwith.
Do you know anyone in these parts?
My own neighbours I must know.
Where do you live here?
Gripus, pointing.
At a distance out away yonder, as far off as the farthest fields.
Trachalio, pointing to the cottage of Daemones.
The person that lives in that cottage, should you like it to be decided by his arbitration?
Let go of the rope for a moment while I step aside and consider.
Be it so.
Let's go of the rope. Gripus, aside.
Capital! The thing's all right. The whole of this booty is my own. He's inviting me here inside of my own abode to my own master as umpire. By my troth, he never this day will award these opals away from his own servant. Assuredly, this fellow doesn't know what proposal he has been making.
To Trachalio.
I'll go to the arbitrator with you.
What then?
Although I know for sure that this is my own lawful right, let that be done rather than I should now be fighting with you.
Now you satisfy me.
Although you are driving me before an arbitrator whom I don't know, if he shall administer justice, although he is unknown, he is as good as known to me. If he doesn't, though known, he is the same as though entirely unknown.
Scene 4. Enter Daemones from his cottage, with Palaestra and Ampeliska and servants. Daemones, to the women.
Seriously, upon my faith, young women, although I wish what you desire, I'm afraid that on your account my wife will be turning me out of doors, will be saying that I've brought harlots here before her very eyes. Do you take refuge at the altar rather than I.
We wretched creatures are undone.
They weep.
I'll place you in safety, don't you fear. But why,
turning to the servants,
are you following me out of doors? Since I'm here, no one shall do them harm. Now then, be off, I say, indoors, both of you, you guards from off guard.
They go in.
O master, save you.
Save you? How goes it?
Trachalio, pointing to Gripus.
Is he your servant?
I'm not ashamed to say yes.
I've nothing to do with you.
Then get you gone hence, will you?
Prithee do answer me, aged sir. Is he your servant?
He is mine.
Oh, then, that is very good, since he is yours. Again I salute you.
And I you. Are you he who, not long since, went away from here to fetch his master?
I am he.
What now is it that you want?
Trachalio, pointing to Gripus.
This is your servant, you say?
He is mine.
That is very good, since he is yours.
What's the matter?
Trachalio, pointing to Gripus.
That's a rascally fellow there.
What has the rascally fellow done to you?
I wish the ankles of that fellow were smashed.
What's the thing about which you are now disputing between yourselves?
I'll tell you.
No, I'll tell you.
I fancy I am to move the matter first.
If indeed you were a decent person, you would be moving yourself off from here.
Gripus, give attention and hold your tongue.
In order that that fellow may speak first?
Attend, I tell you.
To Trachalio.
Do you say on?
Will you give the right of speaking to a stranger sooner than to your own servant?
Oh, dear. How impossible it is for him to be kept quiet. As I was beginning to say, that Procurer who some little time since you turned out of the Temple of Venus, see?
Pointing at the wallet.
He has got his wallet.
I haven't got it.
Do you deny that which I see with my own eyes?
But I only wish you couldn't see. I have got it, and I haven't got it. Why do you trouble yourself about me, what things I do?
In what way you got it does matter, whether rightfully or wrongfully.
If I didn't take it in the sea, there's not a reason why you shouldn't deliver me up to the cross. If I took it in the sea with my net, how is it yours rather than my own?
Trachalio to Daemones.
He is deceiving you. The matter happened in this way, as I am telling you.
What do you say?
So long as the person who has the first right to speak is speaking, do...
To Daemones.
Put a check on him, please, if he belongs to you.
What do you wish the same thing to be done to myself that your master has been accustomed to do to yourself? If he is in the habit of putting a check upon you, this master of ours isn't in the habit of doing so with us.
Daemones to Trachalio.
In that remark only has he got the better of you. What do you want now? Tell me.
For my part, I have neither asked for a share of that wallet there, nor have I ever said this day that it is my own. But in it there is a little casket that belongs to this female,
pointing to Palaestra,
whom a short time since I averred to be free-born.
You are speaking of her, I suppose, whom a short time since you said was my countrywoman?
Just so. And those trinkets which formerly, when little, she used to wear, are there in that casket, which is in that wallet. This thing is of no service to him, and will be of utility to her, poor creature, if he gives it up, by means of which to seek her parents.
I'll make him give it up. Hold your tongue.
I'faith, I'm going to give nothing to that fellow.
I ask for nothing but the casket and the trinkets.
What if they are made of gold?
What's that to you? Gold shall be paid for gold. Silver will have its weight in silver in return.
Please let me see the gold. After that I'll let you see the casket.
Daemones to Gripus.
Do you beware of punishment, and hold your tongue.
To Trachalio.
As you commence to speak, do you go on?
This one thing I entreat of you, that you will have compassion on this female, if indeed this wallet is that Procurer's which I suspect it is. In this matter I am saying nothing of certainty to you, but only on conjecture.
Do you see how the rascal's wheedling him?
Allow me to say on as I commenced. If this is the wallet that belongs to that villain, whose I say it is, these women here will be able to recognise it. Order him to show it to them.
Say you so? To show it to them?
He doesn't say unreasonably, Gripus, that the wallet should be shown.
Yes, and faith confoundedly unreasonably.
How so?
Because if I do show it, at once they'll say, of course, that they recognize it.
Source of villainy. Do you suppose that all other people are just like yourself, you author of perjury?
All this I easily put up with, so long as he,
pointing to Daemones,
is of my way of thinking.
But now he is against you. From this,
pointing to the wallet,
will he obtain true testimony.
Gripus, do you pay attention?
To Trachalio.
You explain in a few words what it is you want?
For my part, I have stated it. But if you haven't understood me, I'll state it over again. Both of these women,
pointing to them,
as I said a short time since, ought to be free.
Pointing to Palaestra.
She was stolen at Athens when a little girl.
Tell me what that has got to do with the wallet, whether they are slaves or whether free women.
You wish it all to be told over again, you rascal, so that the day may fail us.
Leave off your abuse, and explain to me what I've been asking.
There ought to be a casket of wickerwork in that wallet, in which are tokens by means of which she may be enabled to recognise her parents, by whom, when little, she was lost at Athens, as I have said before.
May Jupiter and the gods confound you! What do you say, you sorcerer of a fellow? What, are these women dumb that they are not able to speak for themselves?
They are silent for this reason, because a silent woman is always better than a talking one.
Then, in faith, by your way of speaking, You are neither a man nor a woman to my notion.
How so?
Why, because neither talking nor silent are you ever good for anything. Prithee,
to Daemones,
shall I ever be allowed today to speak?
If you utter a single word more this day, I'll break your head for you.
As I had commenced to say it, old gentleman, I beg you to order him to give up that casket to these young women. If for it he asks any reward for himself, it shall be paid. Whatever else is there besides, let him keep for himself.
Ah, now at last you say that, because you are aware it is my right. Just now you were asking to go to halves.
Aye, and even still I ask it.
I've seen a kite making a swoop, even when he got nothing at all, however.
Daemones to Grippus.
Can't I shut your mouth without a drubbing?
Grippus pointing to Trachalio.
If that fellow is silent, I'll be silent. If he talks, allow me to talk in my own behalf.
Please now, give me this wallet, Grippus.
I'll trust it to you, but for you to return it to me if there are none of those things in it.
It shall be returned.
Take it.
Gives him the wallet.
Now then listen, Palaestra and Apellisca, to this which I say. Is this the wallet in which this procurer said that your casket was?
It is the same.
Grippus aside.
Troth to my sorrow, I'm undone. How on the instant before she well saw it, she said that it was it.
I'll make this matter plain to you, instead of difficult. There ought to be a casket of wicker work there in that wallet. Whatever is in there, I'll state by name. Don't you show me anything. If I say wrong, I shall then have said this to no purpose. Then you shall keep these things, whatever is in there, for yourselves. But if the truth, then I entreat you that what is my own may be restored to me.
I agree. You ask for bare justice only, in my way of thinking at least.
But a faith in mine for extreme injustice. What if she is a witch or a sorceress, and shall mention exactly everything that's in it? Is a sorceress to have it?
She shan't get it, unless she tells the truth. In vain will she be conjuring. Unloose the wallet, then.
Giving it to Grippus.
That as soon as possible I may know what is the truth.
Grippus first unfastens the straps of the wallet, and then hands it to his master.
Take it, it's unfastened.
Daemones takes out the casket.
Alas, I'm undone. I see the casket.
Daemones holding it up and addressing Palaestra.
Is this it?
That is it. O my parents, here do I keep you locked up. Here have I enclosed both my wealth and my hopes of recognizing you.
Grippus aside.
Then, by faith, the gods must be enraged with you, whoever you are, who fasten up your parents in so narrow a compass.
Grippus, come hither. Your cause is being tried.
To Palaestra.
Do you, young woman, away at a distance there, say what's in it, and of what appearance. Mention them all. And by my troth, if you make ever so slight a mistake, even if afterward you wish, madam, to correct yourself, you'll be making a great mistake.
You demand what's real justice.
By my troth, then, he doesn't demand yourself, for you are the opposite of justice.
Now then, say on, young woman. Grippus, give attention, and hold your tongue.
There are some trinkets.
Daemones looking in the casket.
See, here they are. I espy them.
Grippus aside.
In the first onset, I am worsted.
Takes hold of the arm of Daemones.
Hold, don't be showing.
Of what description are they? Answer in their order.
In the first place, there is a little sword of gold with an inscription.
Just tell me what the characters are upon that little sword.
the name of my father. Next on the other side, there's a little two-edged axe, of gold likewise, with an inscription. There on the axe is the name of my mother.
Stay. Tell me, what's the name of your father upon the little sword?
Daemones.
Immortal gods, where in the world are my hopes?
Ay, by my troth, and where are mine?
Do proceed forthwith, I entreat you.
Gripus aside.
Cautiously, or else away to utter perdition.
Say, what's the name of your mother, here upon the little axe?
Daedalus.
The gods will that I should be preserved.
But that I should be ruined.
This must be my own daughter, Gripus.
She may be for me indeed.
ToddHWCast.
May all the gods confound you, who this day saw me with your eyes, and myself as well for a blockhead, who didn't look about 100 times first to see that no one was watching me, before I drew the net out of the water.
Next, there is a little knife of silver, and two little hands linked together, and then a little sow.
Gripus aside.
Nay, then, go and be hanged, you with your little sow, and with your little pigs.
There's also a golden drop, which my father presented to me upon my birthday.
Undoubtedly there is, but I cannot restrain myself any longer from embracing you. My daughter, blessings on you. I am that father who begot you. I am Daemones, and see, your mother Daedalus is in the house there.
Pointing to his cottage. Palaestra, embracing him.
Blessings on you, my unlooked-for father.
Blessings on you. How joyously do I embrace you.
'Tis a pleasure to me, inasmuch as this falls to your lot from your feelings of affection.
Come then, Trachalio, if you can. Bring that wallet into the house.
Trachalio taking the wallet.
See the villainy of Gripus, inasmuch, Gripus, as this matter has turned out unfortunately for you, I congratulate you.
Come then, let's go, my daughter, to your mother, who will be better able to inquire of you into this matter from proofs, who had you more in her hands, and is more thoroughly acquainted with your tokens.
Let's all go hence indoors, since we are giving our common aid.
Follow me, Ampelesca.
That the gods favor you, it is a pleasure to me.
They all go into the cottage of Daemones, except Gripus. Scene 5. Gripus alone. Gripus to himself.
Am I not a blockhead of a fellow to have this day fished up that wallet? Or, when I had fished it up, not to have hidden it somewhere in a secret spot? By my troth, I guessed that it would be a troublesome booty for me, because it fell to me in such troublous weather. Faith, I guess that there's plenty of gold and silver there. What is there better for me than to be off hence indoors, and secretly hang myself, at least for a little time, until this vexation passes away from me?
Goes into the cottage. Scene 6. Enter Daemones from his cottage. Daemones to himself.
Oh, ye immortal gods! What person is there more fortunate than I, who unexpectedly have discovered my daughter? Isn't it the fact that if the gods will a blessing to befall any person, that longed for pleasure by some means or other falls to the lot of the virtuous? I, this day, a thing that I never hoped for nor yet believed, have unexpectedly discovered my daughter, and I shall bestow her upon a respectable young man of noble family, an Athenian, and my kinsman. For that reason I wish him to be fetched hither to me as soon as possible, and I've requested my servant to come out here, that he may go to the forum. Still, I'm surprised at it that he hasn't yet come out. I think I'll go to the door.
Opens the door and looks in.
What do I behold? Embracing her, my wife is clasping my daughter around her neck. Her caressing is really almost too foolish and sickening.
Goes to the door again and calls out.
'Twere better, wife, for an end to be made at last of your kissing, and to make all ready that I may perform a sacrifice when I come indoors, in honor of the household gods, inasmuch as they have increased our family. At home I have lambs and swine for sacred use. But why, ladies, are you detaining that Trachalio? Ah, I see he's coming out of doors, very seasonably.
Scene 7. Enter Trachalio from the cottage. Trachalio, speaking to those within.
Wheresoever he shall be, I'll seek Plesidippus out at once, and bring him together with me to you.
Tell him how this matter has fallen out about my daughter. Request him to leave other occupations and to come here.
Very well.
Tell him that I'll give him my daughter for a wife.
Very well.
And that I knew his father, and that he is a relation of mine own.
Very well.
But do make haste.
Very well.
Take care and let a dinner be prepared here at once.
Very well.
What, all very well?
Very well. But do you know what it is I want of you? That you'll remember what you promised, that this day I am to be free.
Very well.
Take care and entreat Plesidippus to give me my freedom.
Very well.
And let your daughter request it. She'll easily prevail.
Very well.
And that Ampelisca may marry me when I am a free man.
Very well.
That I may experience a pleasing return to myself in kindness for my actions.
Very well.
What? All very well?
Very well. Again I return you thanks. But do you make haste to proceed to the city forthwith, and betake yourself hither again.
Very well. I'll be here directly. In the meantime, do you make the other preparations that are necessary.
Exit Trachalio.
Very well. May Hercules ill befriend him with his very welling. He has so stuffed my ears with it. Whatever it was I said, very well was the answer.
Scene 8. Enter Gripus from the cottage.
How soon may I have a word with you, Daemones?
What's your business, Gripus?
Touching that wallet, if you are wise, be wise. Keep what goods the gods provide you.
Does it seem right to you that what belongs to another I should assert to be mine own?
What, not a thing that I found in the sea?
So much the better does it happen for him who lost it. None the more is it necessary that it should be your wallet.
For this reason are you poor, because you are too scrupulously righteous.
Oh, Gripus, Gripus, in the life of man very many traps there are, in what they are deceived by guile. And, by my troth, full often is a bait placed in them, which bait, if any greedy person greedily snaps at, through his own greediness he is caught in the trap. He who prudently, skilfully, and warily takes precaution, full long he may enjoy that which is honestly acquired. This booty seems to me to be about to be made a booty of by me, that it may go hence with a greater blessing than it first came. What? Ought I to conceal what I know was brought to me as belonging to another? By no means will my friend Daemones do that. 'Tis ever most becoming for prudent men to be on their guard against this, that they be not themselves confederates with their servants in evil-doing. Except only when I'm gaming, I don't care for any gain.
At times I've seen the comedians, when acting in this fashion, repeat sayings in a wise manner, and be applauded for them, when they pointed out this prudent conduct to the public. But when each person went thence his own way home, there wasn't one after the fashion which they had recommended.
Go indoors. Don't be troublesome. Moderate your tongue. I'm going to give you nothing. Don't you deceive yourself.
Gripus apart.
Then I pray the gods that whatever's in that wallet, whether it's gold or whether silver, it may all become ashes.
Goes into the cottage. Scene 9. Daemones alone.
This is the reason why we have bad servants. For this master, if he had combined with any servant, would have made both himself and the other guilty of a theft. While he was thinking that he himself had made a capture, in the meantime he himself would have been made a capture. Capture would have led to capture. Now, while I go indoors from here and sacrifice. After that, I'll at once order the dinner to be cooked for us.
Goes into the cottage. End of Act 4. Act 5 of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. Enter Plesidippus and Trachalio at the further end of the stage.
Tell me all these things over again, my life, my Trachalio, my freed man, my patron, my father. Has Palaestra found her father and mother?
She has found them.
And is she my countrywoman?
So I think.
And is she to marry me?
So I suspect.
Prithee, do you reckon that he will betroth her to me?
So I reckon.
Well, shall I congratulate her father too upon his finding her?
So I reckon.
Well, her mother too?
So I reckon.
What then do you reckon?
What you asked me, I reckon.
Tell me then, how much do you reckon it at?
What I reckon.
Then really do carry over. Don't be always making a reckoning.
So I reckon.
What if I run?
Pretends to run.
So I reckon.
Or rather gently, this way.
He walks slowly.
So I reckon.
Ought I to salute her as well when I arrive?
So I reckon.
Her father too?
So I reckon.
After that, her mother?
So I reckon.
And what after that? When I arrive, should I also embrace her father?
So I don't reckon.
Well, her mother?
So I don't reckon.
Well, her own self?
So I don't reckon.
Confusion! He has closed his reckoning. Now when I wish him, he doesn't reckon.
You are not in your senses. Follow me.
Conduct me, my patron, where you please.
They go into the cottage of Daemones. Scene 2. Enter Labrax at a distance. Labrax to himself.
What other mortal being is there living this day more wretched than myself, whom before the commissioned judges Plesidippus has just now cast? Palaestra has just been taken from me by a ward. I'm ruined outright. But I do believe that procurers were procreated for mere sport. So much do all persons make sport if any misfortune befalls a procurer. Now I'll go look here, in the temple of Venus, for that other female, for her at least I may take away the only portion of my property that remains.
He retires a little distance. Scene 3. Enter Grippus from the cottage of Daemones, with a spit in his hand. Grippus, calling to the people within.
By the powers, you shall never this day at nightfall behold Grippus alive, unless the wallet is restored to me.
Labrax behind.
I'm ready to die. When I hear mention made anywhere of a wallet, I'm thumped, as it were, with a stake upon the breast.
Grippus at the door, continuing.
That scoundrel is free. I, the person that held the net in the sea, and drew up the wallet, to him you refuse to give anything.
Labrax behind.
Oh, ye immortal gods! By his talk this person has made me prick up my ears.
Grippus continuing.
By my troth, in letters a cubit long, I'll immediately post it up in every quarter. If any person has lost a wallet, with plenty of gold and silver, let him come to Grippus. You shan't keep it as you are wishing.
Labrax behind.
I'faith, This person knows, as I think, who has got the wallet. This person must be accosted by me. Ye gods aid me, I do entreat you.
Someone calls Gripus from within.
Why are you calling me back indoors?
He rubs away at the spit.
I want to clean this here before the door. But surely this, in faith, has been made of rust, and not of iron, so that the more I rub it, it becomes quite red and more slender. Why, surely this spit has been drugged. It does waste away so in my hands.
Labrax, accosting him.
Save you, young man.
May the gods prosper you with your shorn pate.
What's going on?
A spit being cleaned.
How do you do?
What are you? Prithee, are you a mendicant?
No, i'faith, I am more than a mendicant by one letter.
Then you are a mendicant.
You've hit it to a nicety.
Your appearance seems suitable to it. But what's the matter with you?
Troth, this last night I was shipwrecked at sea. The vessel was cast away, and to my misfortune I lost there everything that I had.
What did you lose?
A wallet with plenty of gold and silver.
Do you at all remember what there was in the wallet which was lost?
What matters for us now to be talking of it, if in spite of it it's lost?
What if I know who has found it? I wish to learn from you the tokens.
800 golden pieces were there in a purse, besides 100 Philippian miney in a wash-leather bag apart.
Gripus aside.
Troth, it is a noble prize. I shall be getting a handsome reward. The gods show respect to mortals. Therefore I shall come off bounteously rewarded. No doubt it is this man's wallet.
To Labrax.
Do you proceed to relate the rest?
A large talent of silver of full weight was in the purse, besides a bowl, a goblet, a beaker, a boat, and a cup.
Astonishing! You really did have some splendid riches.
A shocking expression is that, and the most abominable one. You did have, and now have not.
What would you be ready to give to one who should find these out for you, and give you information? Say speedily and at once.
300 didrachms.
Rubbish.
400.
Old thrums.
500.
A rotten nut.
600.
You are prating about mere tiny weevils.
I'll give 700.
Your mouth is hot. You are cooling it just now.
I'll give 1,000 didrachms.
You are dreaming.
I add no more. Be off with you.
Hear me then. If in faith I should be off from here, I shan't be here.
Would you like 100 as well as the 1,000?
You are asleep.
Say how much you ask.
That you mayn't be adding anything against your inclination, a great talent. It's not possible for 3 obols to be baited thence. Then do you say either yes or no at once?
Labrax aside.
What's to be done here? It's a matter of necessity, I see.
To Gripus.
The talent shall be paid.
Gripus going towards the altar.
Just step this way. I wish Venus here to put the question to you.
Whatever you please that command me.
Touch this altar of Venus.
Labrax, touching it.
I am touching it.
By Venus here must you swear to me.
What must I swear?
What I shall bid you.
Dictate in words just as you like.
Aside.
What I've got at home I shall never beg of anyone else.
Take hold of this altar.
Labrax, taking hold of it.
I am taking hold of it.
Swear that you will pay me the money on that same day on which you shall gain possession of the wallet.
Be it so.
Gripus speaking while Labrax repeats after him.
Venus of Cyrene.
Venus of Cyrene.
I invoke thee as my witness.
I invoke thee as my witness.
If I shall find that wallet which I lost in the ship.
if I shall find that wallet which I lost in the ship,
safe with the gold and silver,
safe with the gold and silver,
and it shall come into my possession,
and it shall come into my possession.
then to this Gripus do I promise. Say so, and place your hand upon me.
Then to this Gripus do I promise, Venus, do thou hear me,
that I will forthwith give him a great talent of silver.
that I will forthwith give him a great talent of silver.
If you defraud me, say may Venus utterly destroy your body and your existence and your calling.
Aside.
As it is, do you have this for yourself when you've once taken the oath?
If, Venus, I shall do anything amiss against this oath, I supplicate thee that all procurers may henceforth be wretched.
Gripus, aside.
As it is, it shall be so, even if you do keep your oath. Do you wait here?
Going towards the cottage.
I'll at once make the old gentleman come out. Do you forthwith demand of him that wallet?
Goes in. Labrax to himself.
If ever so much he shall restore to me this wallet, I'm not this day indebted to him 3 obols even. It's according to my own intention what my tongue swears.
The door opens.
But I'll hold my peace. See here, he's coming out, and bringing the old man.
Scene 4. Enter Gripus, followed by Daemones with the wallet.
Follow this way. Where is the Procurer?
To Labrax.
Hark you. See now. This person,
pointing at Daemones,
has got your wallet.
I have got it, and I confess that it is in my possession. And if it's yours, you may have it. Everything, just as each particular was in it, shall in like manner be given safe to you.
Holding it out.
Take it, if it's yours.
Immortal gods, it is mine.
Takes it.
Welcome, dear wallet.
Is it yours?
Do you ask the question? If indeed i' faith it were in Jove's possession, still it is my own.
Everything in it is safe. There has only been one casket taken out of it, with some trinkets, by means of which this day I have found my daughter.
What person?
Palaestra, who was your property. She has been discovered to be my own daughter.
By my troth, it has happily turned out so. Since this matter has happened so fortunately for you according to your wishes, I am rejoiced.
In that I don't readily believe you.
Ay, by my faith, that you may be sure that I'm rejoiced, you shan't give me 3 obols for her. I excuse you.
In faith, you are acting kindly.
No, troth, it's really yourself indeed that's doing it.
Going off with the wallet.
Hark you, you've got the wallet now.
I have got it.
Make haste.
Make haste about what?
To pay me the money.
By my troth, I'll neither give you anything, nor do I owe you anything.
What mode of proceeding is this? Don't you owe it to me?
Troth, not I indeed.
Didn't you promise it me upon your oath?
I did take an oath, and now I'll take an oath, if it is in any way my own pleasure. Oaths were invented for preserving property, not for losing it.
Give me, will you, a great talent of silver, you most perjured fellow.
Gripus, what talent is it you are asking him for?
He promised it me on oath.
I chose to swear.
Turning to Daemones.
Are you the priest as to my perjury?
Daemones to Gripus.
For what reason did he promise you the money?
If I restored this wallet into his hands, he swore that he would give me a great talent of silver.
Find me a person with whom I may go to the judge to decide whether you did not make the bargain with wicked fraudulence, and whether I am yet 25 years old.
Gripus, pointing to Daemones.
Go to the judge with him.
No, I must have some other person.
Daemones to Labrax.
Then I shan't allow you to take it away from him, unless I shall have found him guilty. Did you promise him the money?
I confess it.
What you promised my slave must needs be mine own. Don't you be supposing, Procurer, that you are to be using your pimping honesty here. That can't be.
Grippus to Labrax.
Did you fancy now that you had got hold of a person whom you might cheat? It must be paid down here.
Holding his hand.
Good silver coin. I shall at once pay it to him.
Pointing to Daemones.
So that he may give me my liberty.
Inasmuch, therefore, as I have acted courteously towards you, and by my means these things,
pointing to the wallet,
have been saved for you.
I' faith, by my means, rather. Don't say by yours.
Daemones to Grippus.
If you are prudent, you'll hold your tongue.
To Labrax.
Then it befits you, in a like courteous manner, kindly to return the obligation to myself, who so well merit the same.
You are pleading, of course, for my right.
It would be a wonder if I didn't, at a loss to myself, ask you to forego your right.
Grippus aside.
I'm all right. The Procurer is giving way. My freedom is at hand.
Daemones pointing to Grippus.
He found this wallet. He is my slave. I therefore have preserved this for you, together with a large sum of money.
I return you thanks, and with regard to the talent that I promised on oath to him, there's no reason that you shouldn't receive it.
Hark you, give it me then, if you are wise.
Daemones to Grippus.
Will you hold your tongue or not?
You pretend to be acting on my side. I tell you by my troth, you shan't do me out of that, if I did lose other booty.
You shall have a beating if you add a single word.
Troth now, do you kill me even? I'll never be silent on any terms, unless my mouth is shut with the talent.
For yourself, in fact, is he using his exertions. Do hold your tongue.
Step this way, Procurer.
Very well.
They walk on one side.
Proceed openly. I don't want any whisperings or mumblings to be going on.
Tell me, at what price did you buy that other young woman, Ampeliska?
I paid down 1,000 diadrachms.
Should you like me to make you a handsome offer?
I should like it much.
I'll divide the talent.
You act fairly.
For that other woman, Ampeliska, that she may be free, take you 1/2, and give the other half to him.
By all means.
For that half I'll give its freedom to Grippus, by means of whom you found your wallet, and I my daughter.
You act fairly. I return you many thanks.
They return to Grippus.
How soon, then, is the money to be returned to me?
The money's paid, Grippus. I've got it.
You, faith, but I had rather it were myself.
In faith, there's nothing for you here, so don't you be expecting it. I wish you to release him from his oath.
Grippus aside.
Troth, I'm undone. If I don't hang myself, I'm utterly done for.
Aloud.
I' faith, after this day you certainly shall never be cheating me again.
Dine here today, Procurer.
Be it so. The proposal is to my taste.
Do you both follow me indoors?
He comes forward and addresses the audience.
Spectators, I would invite you to dinner as well, were it not that I'm going to give nothing, and that there is no good cheer at all at home, and if, too, I didn't believe that you are invited to dinner elsewhere. But if you shall be willing to give hearty applause to this play, do you all come to make merry at my house some 16 years hence?
To Labrax and Grippus.
Do you both dine here with me today?
Be it so.
Daemones to the audience.
Now, give us your applause.
End of Act 5. End of Rudens, or The Fisherman's Rope, by Titus Maccius Plautus, translated by Henry Thomas Riley.